That's too lazy.
Is your internet working?
No, is yours?
It just suddenly popped up on here.
Are you
Oh,
connected?
it's yours. It's your iPhone. I'll disconnect.
You can connect to yours.
Well, no, I don't need it, and that's why I'm not gonna take your
Good one.
spot, but I would just notice, I'm like, wait, what's happening?
40 pages this week.
Oh, good. Just a little bit, a few emails I wanted to be able to look at.
See? It's tomorrow's news today.
Yeah, but you don't have the facts on that.
Yeah. Doesn't help you with that.
See stock prices a day in advance.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 6:02 already.
You do not have quorum now, unfortunately.
No, I don't. I'm not online
You
because.
don't, yeah, you don't have anyone online.
Okay, because I was gonna say the only person that might be online is Catherine Valen. Tanya said she would be a half an hour late. Steve Crow is not gonna be here. So those are all I have.
Well, waiting we go.
Yeah.
That is all we can do.
I'm sure Andrew will be here in a minute.
Oh yeah, you said Andrew is chairing the meeting. No, you said, Ron,
I'm sorry.
that Andrew's chairing the meeting?
Andrew's gonna chair the meeting.
Okay, well then, I guess we need him. More than anyone.
Sorry, I'm just not happy. Clearly, I'm just like giggling. Oh.
I am. I'm good.
Good.
Went to my first Black Hawk City Council meeting today.
What do you mean you're? Are you on the board?
No,
Oh.
no,
Like, what?
I wanted
Are
to see,
you?
wanted to see how they do it.
I heard
wanted to
I heard it
go-
goes fast and efficient.
It's very fast.
Is that true? That's what I heard.
I mean, you already have all the decisions made before you go into the meeting. You can just vote. That's pretty much what happens at that
That's what I
meeting.
heard.
Yeah,
That's what I heard.
they're one of the crookedest in the entire state of Colorado.
We've been trying to get them to be part of the.
They won't.
The multi-jurisdictional housing authority, and they're like, we're good.
They don't want housing.
Yeah,
Housing,
and then we tried to
housing
get
doesn't mean
central.
voting. They
Then
don't want.
we tried to get central on, and they're like, we don't know. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
y'all, this is like a mutual benefit, but whatever.
I think Central,
Central's response was, what are we really getting for this?
I think Central,
Housing support? I don't know what to say to you. I don't even know.
I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know how to respond to that.
Housing.
We have.
they told Gilpin they were in. Central told Gilpin they were gonna be in,
Which-
because both of them,
Seems like we got that.
Yeah,
When we first
brought that
reached out
up
there, like, we
Tuesday.
don't know.
yeah.
All right, Andrew, we're ready.
And I have this printed out if this helps you kind of
Call the meeting
go
order.
through.
Yeah, call the order. Yeah. So we're, roll call. Yeah, we've got, who's online?
No one.
We have no one online.
No one online. Okay. So we've got Scott, bench. Barb Hart,
Here.
Steve Roundtree,
Here.
Ron Mitchell,
Here.
Kate Massengale here. And so Tanya's not here, no one's online.
No, Tanya will be here, she said about 30 minutes late, so I don't know if that means she'll be online or in person, but I forwarded you that she'll be with us soon.
Where's
do we-
Danielle?
I don't know, I talked to her this week, so I think she's just really running late.
Okay, do we have a quorum?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do, okay. So we'll call the meeting to order. Then, does anyone have any discussion items that are not part of the consent agenda?
Peter Fiore did say he was gonna come and make some comments. Getting the meeting, but he's not here. So.
Okay, kind of to that end, I know that they sent in their contract,
And I
however,
sent it to-
Tanya kind of had some issues and questions. This is so backstory or to say it out loud. The summer concert series contract was there back and forth, which we received it back from time served, and everything I think is good on our end, with the exception that Tanya voiced that she was concerned that there were 3 shows in August and none in September. And that was, Kimba said, well, that was partly through talking with town. So I don't know if we have an idea if there are certain events, like town events, that were all 3 of them in August, and not if there was a reason. And maybe Miranda, you might.
At 150.
Is August, and so I know they wanted to line up one of theirs with that.
Yep.
But why are there none in September? I can't really answer why there's 3 in
And
August. I can
so
find out.
I spoke to our attorney today. He let me know that he's gonna have everything back to us tomorrow.
Mhm.
But his one comment, because I told him what Tanya's feedback was that we had just received, and it was just to be, then maybe we don't put the exact dates in the agreement, we just say we're gonna do this many dates, and that with approval, final approval, we'll work together, put some language in like that, so that we don't let this be a reason to not sign right away, so
Right.
hopefully we can keep going.
Okay.
So that's just my comment as a way to work on that, so that we can still be having those conversations, but we can get that contract executed so that they can feel like they can spend money and do what they really need to do.
Yeah. I think probably, I don't know this for sure because Peter's not here, but I
Yeah.
imagine some of it might have to do with who they could get when. But
But yeah, we can just, try to set up a call, because I think that might be the most efficient thing, is once we get it back from Paul, just talk to them really quickly and, we put that in there and get it executed.
okay, that makes sense to me. Any other comments? No further comments?
And I just sent a message to Peter and Nikki, so if I can answer before we're done today, I'll let you know.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
So efficient.
See why they said that.
And isn't the that's in September,
September.
and, what else is, I'm trying to think, there's a few, and the Ned Gravel is when? July, that's right, that's right, okay, I was just trying to remember when everybody was.
Harvest Fest is either at the
Do you have the dates?
end of September.
I can't get online, so I can't pull up the information that where that is, I'm sorry. I know that they've been working hard to honor the request to not step on any other event's toes, and that we make sure that there's different things being offered. So there is a lot of diligence going into that piece, and that's why we're still talking about it, but that was the direction, and that was one of Stephanie's comments, and we've tried to be they've been thoughtful about that.
But we are making some distinction between events that we don't want them to step on and events that.
We want them to join, yes. Yeah, because they want to be a part of the NED 150 event. We thought that made total sense, that with that being kind of this grassroots more event that the DDA would have, this event having that state, so that was the thoughts about that. But yes, we are working when it makes sense, but then also letting like NED Jazz and Wine have that weekend, and then we would do something at a different time that has a different type of music. So they're just being thoughtful about that.
Okay. So need a motion to approve February warrants?
I think we can approve the entire, I
Approve
make a
the
motion
entire-
that we improve the consent agenda
Yeah.
with everything that's on it.
Okay,
I'll second that.
take roll.
You ready for me?
Yeah.
Scott Pappage,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes?
Steve Roundtree,
Yes.
Ron Mitchell,
Yes.
Andrew Dewar.
Yes.
All right, thank you all.
So really quick, I think maybe there's a little bit of misinformation. Nikki said she didn't say that, and they actually are hoping they would do a September one at the performance space down there. And so I agree, the contract should just eliminate dates and just say that they are committed to.
So
X
many
amount
in
of-
that will approve it and sign off on it together, like we just need to keep it at that level.
Okay, so we're moving on then, since I took that public comment on non-agenda. I guess we call for public comment, I guess.
There's no public
No
here.
public.
Is there anybody online still now?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, so then moving to the first action item, the 2024 mural artist recommendations.
Okay.
We don't have.
I just texted her, like, are you coming? Cause you're.
So I'm happy
Yeah,
to
we can read
run through this
Yeah.
because I was I've always sit in through the meeting. So you know, it's been really fun for me to watch this group evolve over the past 3 years and how they've run these meetings in this RFP, and they have, you know, they've got it really down to a science. They have their score system down, they're very efficient, and they go through. And so this year you approved in December the following locations: Mountaineer, Flower Collective, and Kathmandu. So there were 16 applications that we received, which is awesome. And the amount of repeats applications we've had from year to year is also really great to see. And people that already have done murals for us want to work with us again. And I think that that should really speak highly of that committee and the work that they're doing and your all's support. But I think that the way that they're nurturing this program just should be noted in a public way, because it's grown really well and they run a really clean system. And Rhea still is just as involved on it as she was when she was a board member. So in the end, the finalists all tied with the same amount of points. So it worked out really nicely like that. And so the 3 finalists are Erica Raven, and that's to do the Kathmandu project. David Schwartz is for the Mountaineer, and Sophia Ramirez is for the Flower Collective. And I linked in the packet all of the information so you can see all the portfolios and CRP and all the information. And so the questions for this board is, does the board consent for the NPAC to move forward with the chosen artists? And your motions, potential motion is motion to approve NPAC to move forward with the chosen artists. Any questions or anything? I don't know if I'll be able to answer the same way Danielle or the public art committee members would, but I can speak
Do
to the
they-
process.
Do the artists have like a discussion with the building people to determine which, like what direction they're gonna go? I mean, I know it's like life in the mountains or whatever, but
So, yeah, so I think that they've always been really open to discussing with people. So I think once we get under contract, that's what it would be, because in the past, the building owners or representatives
Mhm.
have sat on the committee during. And so there's been feedback in that way, at least from them, and that didn't happen this time,
Mhm.
not for any particular reason. I just think that the group, there was 6 people scoring, so there's a wide swath of people that look at this and kind of come together. That's why I'm saying the process and what they've implemented and how they do it is very effective, that they've really got this part down very well to run these mural programs. So yes, so that's kind of how nothing, and a lot of times what I thought was really interesting in the way that it actually worked out well is that artists would tell us what buildings called to them and which ones, you know, were things that they saw for things. And so we were able to give those top 3 who the buildings that they actually really wanted to. So that was really nice that they were able to take that into consideration and that it actually all worked out.
yeah.
So so that is how. So there, I do imagine that there'll be conversation, but yes, it's still within the parameters of what was in the RFP.
Okay.
Let me see if I've heard from Danielle.
Well, I mean, I think, given, you know, had pretty good, high confidence in the Public Art Committee, on everything they've done and recommended so far. So just speaking for myself, I personally wouldn't object to their recommendations as a committee. That's my position.
I agree. Am I okay to vote on this? I don't own the Mountaineer. I have no.
Yeah, you are.
conflict.
Yeah,
I just
you're,
want to make sure. that
yeah,
I'm-
you are.
Okay,
We've talked about that before, that
Okay.
this part.
perfect.
Steve, is there anything you wanna add?
You have anything to add on that one?
Scott?
We'll have an opportunity to see what they're proposing for each space in due time.
Sometimes they've done that and sometimes they haven't, and it more depends on the timing. We are on the usual schedule, and so we'll see, but a lot of times that having to do that step sets it back in a way that then it's harder to rush the mural at the end of the season. So it will depend. You know, with most committees, you're trusting the work that they've done, and they're gonna be working with them, and they've shown, you know, this. So last year was the first year that they showed you all of them,
Mhm.
and that did slow up stuff. So if you do want to see that, you could put that in the motion that you want to see the drafts. You are welcome to request that, of course. I'm just letting you know that sometimes that can slow stuff up and sometimes it's not a big deal. But just know that as you make the decision, but you're absolutely can put that in the motion that you would like to see the draft before the mural goes up.
I think it's pretty important, and I, speaking for myself, I like seeing it before decisions are made, even if we have to do, you know, a quick, just one item agenda meeting. And even if we had to do it remotely, I would still be in favor of it.
Okay. So if I made a special meeting for it so that it didn't slow anything up, is that what you're saying?
If that's what was needed to get
Okay.
it done, sure.
Because it might be, because we, you know, we have to get it under contract. Obviously, our contract is already, you know, vetted. But I just want to make sure that we're not putting them through too much that then we're like, hurry, 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 get it done by the end of the season. You know, I just don't like being in that position because the first year that was the biggest challenge was how long it took, the implementation of it. So I just want to make everybody aware for that. But that's fine. If you guys want to put that in the motion, just state that and we can look at whatever that would be.
Ron, do you have anything to add? Good. Barb, you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we move forward with the artist recommendations, including a preliminary mural design on all locations back to the DDA.
On all locations back to DK.
A second.
Okay. You ready for me to call roll? Okay. Scott Pappich,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Steve Roundtree,
Yes.
Ron Mitchell,
Yes.
Andrew Dewar.
Yes.
All right, thank you all.
Moving on, another public art, 2024 picnic table project.
So this is basically just a repeat of what they did last year. And they're just giving you some more guidance on what they're planning to do and wanting to enlist Casey Pyle to work again with the group to spearhead, but I am not a font of information about this is in the same way. But I've got the questions laid out there for you does the board have any comments or concerns about the picnic table project? I mean, it was largely successful last year. It got a lot of different people engaged. In the process.
Teenagers, is that-
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's more working with the youth.
Yep.
And so that was Carrie Evans, who's on the committee. That's one of the passion projects that she's kind of bringing to this as ways to engage people through Teens Inc. and the youth collaboration. So does the board agree to bring Casey Pyle back as a paid art director for another picnic table project like last year? And is the board ready to move forward with the picnic table project? And your possible motions are to approve moving forward with the 2024 picnic table project.
No,
Question.
authorizing expenditure.
Yes, because this is how they want to use part of their budget line item. They did not give me a number and I asked for it. And so I was really hoping that somebody would be on tonight to be able to give me a better idea of what the exact number is.
I don't.
And I don't have internets. Well, I'm gonna steal your,
Take away.
let me tell you how much the picnic table project cost last year, because I know it's staying into the same. That was painful.
So just in general, when multiple proposals come on the agenda around public art, is it safe for us to presume that the whole bundle of projects, the annual budget?
Yes, and I've asked them to put it into one item for you in the future, because I do not like coming piecemeal like this. I want you to look at the budget just like you do for beautification.
Mhm.
There's lots of different things in there. So I want you to go bam, 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 this is what it is. So really, you've been piecemeal approving different pieces of their budget. And so nothing is moving forward without eligible expenditures, but I would like it to just be one item. In the past, we've been able to do that with the community project and with some of the stuff with the moving the Marion sculpture, that prohibited them from being able to do it like that this year and to keep moving with because they're very good at running the mural, they know exactly the timeline they need to be on. And so they're keeping on that, but other items couldn't stay with it. And so since this is the big haul of what they do, we're keeping that going, but that's why you're seeing them piecemeal. But I do think it makes more sense that that each committee comes at once to you with their full annual budget and it gets approved at the beginning, because then that makes everything easier for everyone. You know what you did, I know it's approved. we all know it's all good to go and everybody can go off and spend the money the way that they need to.
So it would also be kind of nice if the number was included in the aim somewhere, just as a reference.
Okay. And it's $50,000 is how much they're approved for this year.
And last year it was 20 or 30,
15,
15 to 50,
yes, because of the Marion sculptures.
right?
Can I move to maybe come back to this after talking through the next project funding method? Is that? all
Sure.
right? We kind of table this for a second since I don't, without information and maybe talking through the project funding.
Sure.
Maybe Next.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the number for what
Okay,
it was last year.
okay.
I'm almost there now.
So the next aim, 2024 project funding.
Yeah.
So this looks like, am I correct in reading this, is we're talking about whether we want to use town funds, pay the town back, or use
Yeah,
the bank?
because of the way that you all decided to start utilizing the line of credit, I need you to tell me how you want to fund all of these projects. I was trying to figure out different ways to do it, but this seems to be the most efficient, is I just give you a list of all of them. And we decide which way that you want to go, and then next meeting, I'll bring to you all the I'll work with Rita like we always do, and get you all the resolutions and run them by all the attorneys, and then they'll all be done and ready so that we can start getting the money moving. But the most efficient way for me to do that is for you all to kind of tell me what direction you want to go in.
Mhm. I mean,
And I don't have a recommendation because it really depends, and it depends on what your thoughts are.
I've got some thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I think, rather to make things too busy, that it would seem to make sense, like we did for the parking lot, only to have large, sizable projects go, utilize the line of credit to be paid back within a day or two, like the sidewalk replacement,
Okay,
summer concert series.
Okay.
Wayfinding, merge, that type of thing.
Those large-
Whereas like small things, traffic flaggers, I think maybe there's a dollar threshold here where, anything less than,
Actually, it seems to me like if we get, if what we're trying to do is save money on paying these by paying out of the line of credit, seems to me like we'll pay less on smaller items than a $50 fixed fee. Pay a fixed fee of $50 plus 1% on something that's small.
it's not plus 1%, it's 50%, it's $50
Or
or
1%.
1%, whichever is less.
Covers less.
I mean, the truth is, if it's the best thing to do, you should just do it routinely, I suppose, for all the projects. Is there any reason why we wouldn't?
well, I think I guess, coming back to, how did it work the last time with the parking lot? How did that go down? Was that?
I mean, here.
Are you talking about the fire protection district? So the
I
IGA is the only one we used it for.
Okay, I thought we used it to pay for the paving of the,
For Big Springs?
no,
No.
not Big Springs, for
Visitor center.
visitor
parking.
center parking lot.
No, no, that wasn't approved at that time. The visitor center parking lot was already in our coffers, so that wasn't utilized for that. So this is the way to get the money into our coffers. And so we will need a resolution to make that happen, but I can, after that, do whatever transaction and however you want to do it.
Mhm.
I mean, do you want me monthly drawing on the line of credit for all of these? I mean, that's why I'm saying I don't have a recommendation because there's so many different ways we could do it. And it's really what your feelings are, because I absolutely see Andrew's point of view as well as, the smaller items being the one, but it is.
I mean, comment.
Yep.
Line of credit is for major items. We can pay the smaller things right out of the TIF funds that we have in the bank.
Mhm.
There's no real reason to use the line of credit unless you really have something probably over 50.
We have to get the TIF funds into our checking account. We have to there has to be some formal action to get them into our checking account, out of the money markets, out of the line of credit, like that money still has to come to us some way. And the way we've been doing it is borrowing with,
It's readily available without.
yes,
any
but there has to be an action. That's what I'm saying, like, yes, there's money, we just need to figure out what the action is, yeah.
So let's get it done.
Steve,
I'm trying.
Steve, do you have a a recommendation or thought on this?
We have this much cash sitting, correct? The total on this page is 840,000 or something in that neighborhood. We have those funds sitting in liquid.
You have a $500,000 line of credit. And then you have let's see, what's in
Yeah,
the
but
actual,
We want to pay that back within 48 hours, right? That's not cash.
well, that's what I'm saying. So that you made that not liquid. So that took away a lot of the money that you have. And let me get to the treasurer's report where
Citywide operating is 157,000,
And then-
citywide TIF is 600.
600. So the 600,
660,000.
the 600 is what you have readily available. That's what you can pull and just move over. We don't have to do anything for that money. We put ourselves through a lot of process, but we could just transfer it from the money market to our checking.
Right, the reason I'm asking
But-
is it's,
Okay.
if we're gonna pay something out of the line of credit, what we don't wanna do is pay something out of the line of credit and then not have the cash to repay it quickly, because then we're gonna be paying an interest fee on it. And that was not the plan.
You'll be paying daily interest on it if you,
If it sits for a long time, right?
yes.
Could be expensive. That was not.
It's not the
what we-
plan.
It's not the way we're doing this.
We all agree.
Wayfinding things that are not gonna be paid tomorrow, I don't know why we would do
That's
that.
fine. We don't, yeah, it's not like $840,000 have to disappear at one time, but we want to make sure we will or do have the cash to pay back the line of credit anytime we pull money out of the line of credit to pay a bill, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we want that time period to be short.
So take it out of the money market fund.
And the point of having that was so that we could, I've never agreed with this, but the point was so we could develop a credit rate as a taxing authority, correct?
That's correct.
Then probably stick with large items is
I'm
what
sorry?
makes me, probably stick with large items on the line of credit if that's really
Yeah.
what we believe. If that's what the group is proposing to believe.
Oh, that,
Financially,
we
yeah.
add up sidewalk replacement, summer concert series. I don't, and then I don't know how much wayfinding is realistic that they would draw this, I know we've approved a big
It
project.
could be some additional to merge and then hopefully to a contract, but that could be a couple of contractors too. So.
Yeah, and it would be big lump sum payments.
Yeah.
So like that, I get that logic.
Can this group refresh me? When we talked about the budget late last year, the wayfinding number, we kind of purposely pushed that number up,
To try to get it done, yeah.
knowing that we wouldn't really spend that much, correct?
Well, we pushed it up because of the reality that when we put it out for bid, if we're gonna actually get done, we think we're gonna get done, the bids are gonna probably come in higher than the estimates. I mean, those estimates are old, right? I haven't seen any bid for a construction project come in under what you think it's gonna be for a long time. So our option is either gonna be, when the bid comes back, we're gonna have to whittle things out of it. And then if we whittle things out of it, the contractor who put a bid on it might say, well, I don't even wanna do it then. I think that's why we put extra money there, to make sure
It's
that
done.
we can try to actually like do the project without it being whittled away and having contractors say like, the scope's not even worth coming up and doing it, or I don't wanna.
Yeah, I feel like what I took away from that when we had that discussion last fall was that we pushed the number high to be safe, but we didn't really think it was gonna get that high.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
think it's gonna hit 400 to make signs and put them up.
anytime my perspective is signs are expensive. Anytime I've like worked on a signage project,
Mhm.
it's expensive. And when you think that you're gonna get a lot for, $300,000, you don't end up with that much signage. That's my experience with rebranding, re-signing.
Yeah.
The sign project that I've worked on at Eldora, the scope of that is similar to this and it's expensive. So
How much have we got into it so far? 50,000?
Not into this 400 for this year. I don't have a number for what's in
What was the
total
one back?
spent.
I can get something. So this is from 2023. We spent $17,069.55. And most of that was due to the site visit and actually producing all the documents. They did a lot of their work last year. So that was 17,000. Of
So
their
really-
previous, that was the previous budget.
So, but really ended up being 400,000 to make these signs? That's considerably.
Install, right? I think they're
Yeah,
thinking.
right.
making
Same
and
with
installing, yeah.
It really
Fabricate
ends up
and
being
install.
significantly more than what we originally thought 2 years ago. Is it still money well spent? Just a
It's-
question.
It's time to do wayfinding. We've been sitting on it for 6 years, it seems like.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's like time to do it.
But-
So if we wait and say, we don't want to pay 400,000 now, we're gonna pay 600,000 later. So like, we have to move forward. We've spent all this money researching it and having them come here, and now we're finally at this point. When are we gonna move forward?
so we're just waiting for, in the wayfinding report, you'll see, after kind of thinking about like, what is the best way to get this out to bid?
Mhm.
We asked Merge to give us an opinion based on what was branding, what
Mhm.
colors, just tell us. Like, we don't want to put through a lot of like, what in your professional opinion,
Mhm.
here's what we need it to look like. You tell us what it is, fix it, come back to us.
Mhm.
So that's where we are. So I really, really, really want to go out to bid next month. That may be overly optimistic, but we are sitting on go. So I'm ready to go. So. Because once it goes to bid, then it's more on me to get these things done. That, like, that's the way that our committees and, staffing works. And so we're just waiting to get that back from the professionals, and then we're gonna go out and, get this done. Because in December, you gave the wayfinding committee to go. You
Mhm.
said, you can make decisions, you can do what needs to do, get this done. That was the conversation.
Nice.
So that's what we're doing.
I'll be excited, yeah.
And so will I, because it is one of the things that has been on my plate the entire time I've been here. And that's, most of the stuff is moving off, and so I'm excited for that to move into a new phase and to be
Yeah.
done right. And we waited, I mean, there's lots of reasons why it rated, and I don't think that those were necessarily wrong. We didn't get out in front of other things, so then it's, oh, the DDA does, it would have been something if not another thing. And so I'm glad that we waited through these processes, and hopefully that just means we're gonna get a really quality end product that people are proud of.
Mhm.
Sorry to eat while we're having
It smells really good, but.
my dinner and rush, but I think that the easiest way to do this is like a dollar threshold and just decide that if there is a single purchase that exceeds, be that $25,000 or, because I know half of the summer concert series, it's gonna be, they need a
Right away,
50%
yeah.
deposit. So I'd say any single, payee $25,000 or more would be drawn from the line of credit, to be paid back within 2 days. Anything less than 25,000, to a single payee, less than $25,000 should be out of the TIF fund. Be my recommendation, but.
Okay, so that would mean that some resolutions, we'd have to change the resolutions, because in that case, we could potentially be using the line of credit for some projects as well as the money market.
Right.
So I just letting you know you would see that language change, so I would need to go out to our attorney and make sure that all of that jives, but just letting you know that then we would need to make sure that we've outlined that those are our procedures in the resolution, so that it's all very clear that that's how we're doing things, and then the $25,000 threshold. So with your motion, you can approve the funding and then give me those caveats of the $25,000 and just basically what Andrew said. Don't you think, is that? I think we'll try this, and who knows what this will be like, but I'll let you know, and I'll let you know how much it's costing for the line of credit.
Easier things. I don't like the idea of anything being more complicated than it needs to be. And seems like there's a level of complication here that's
There is.
necessary.
Is
Yeah.
there a more streamlined approach that you would recommend?
I truly don't know. I tried to think of that. So that's why I'm saying I don't have a recommendation. You all have different ways of viewing this. And so that's why I couldn't really come up with and yes, there is a cost to my time in running around, because we're not talking about me just going to citywide here in town. You're talking about me going to 2 different banks in Boulder, you know, and that's fine. Like, it's fine when that happens, you know?
Would it be easier if we just choose the project funding that we would like to fund with line of credit, in which we go to just pull from money market? Would that be easier?
But not necessarily. I mean, that's why I'm saying that if it makes more sense to you to set a dollar threshold, I understand that, because any which way I'm gonna be running around.
Mhm.
You're gonna have me doing different things anyway. I
Just
mean,
even
what do
like-
you think?
Yeah, even like wayfinding, we might have a couple of small invoices from merch,
Exactly.
right?
And then the
so,
big ones to the contractors, yeah. So
feels like,
that's why there's really no, this is the easiest route, you know? So I'll do whatever you say.
By project, it seems like it would streamline that more. If it was by project.
Yeah, because then the resolution process and my process with Rita, but that's only one piece of things, you know?
Is the difficult part going in and out of the line of credit?
Yeah, probably, because it's just time and running around, but it's not a big deal. It's more the writing of the resolutions, making sure that we're always following them too, checks and balances. I mean, that's not a hard thing. I'm just pointing out what the different things are, but yeah, it's not as straightforward as it's funding from this, it's funding from that. But I understand the logic of it, and people do lots of different ways, so. I mean, I would say pull from your money market for as much as you can, because it's right there.
So
And
that
it
is the
just,
simplest way.
and then we're just transferring it. So there are some that may make sense for. So that's just easy, like beautification. That's the one that I need the money now. So if you approve that, that would be the easiest thing, and then we don't have to pay anything to get some of that out of there. And make sure I'll get our attorney's written opinion on this, but that was the confusion back in the day. And, you know, obviously you didn't have as much money as you have now, but the amount of money that you have, you don't have to go anywhere to lend money. You want to have that option, because most people don't have that as easy access to their funds as you do. But I mean, we're not making that much interest as we were, so it doesn't really not behoove us to take it out of the money market for something like beautification, which I just need access to. We're constantly spending on, there's nothing that's over $25,000. That is just small transactions constantly until October. Whereas public art will be several different checks, and there probably will be one that's $25,000 potentially.
But working with the money market fund doesn't allow you to go anywhere. You can just,
I can just transfer that on the web. But again, you only have 600,000, so it wouldn't be for everything. But I just think I would like you to think about using that more, because in some cases that might make sense too, and you have it. And it was making you a lot of interest in the last couple of years, but now Citywide's changed that. So you're only getting like $97 to $100 a month off of that, where before you were getting like some months almost $400. So that's different, you know, that's a different thing. That's not what we're getting nowadays, so it doesn't really, I don't know, pulling a few grand out of there, I don't think is a big deal for some of those projects. And then it saves a lot, you know, there's no cost to it at all. And no, my time cost of it.
Well, you know, I think we spent a lot of bandwidth and energy trying to get,
Yeah.
work on this line of credit. I'd like to at least see some of it used. And I think that the most streamlined way, you know, sounds like to pick a project, 1 or 2 big projects.
And just have those be the
And
ones.
just have those be the ones, and then use the money market for everything else.
if you believe that using the money market, or excuse me, using the line of credit actually does something for us, then we should just do it a couple of times, because it's a little bit labor intensive.
Yeah, it is,
And
because
it's clear.
yeah, no,
Let's just do it for a couple of large items, I guess.
what if we just look at wayfinding and sidewalk replacement and then
Perfect.
pick a dollar amount?
Yeah.
And say expenditures over, I don't know if it's 25 or
50 maybe.
50. Yeah, I think the concern is too, that like, we want to use it. I don't think we want someone driving up and down a canyon all summer.
Right.
There's a sense of urgency when we do this, that it like needs to happen
right away, yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
that can be a challenging thing. So I don't know, 50K wayfinding and sidewalk replacement, is that a starting point that like puts us at a spot where we say like, we should use it a couple times, make sure that,
Maybe even
We did it.
higher. I mean, if sidewalk replacement is gonna be paid all at one time, or is it gonna be paid in multiple?
What do you think about?
One time.
That's what I was gonna say. It'll probably be one time, because a lot of the times the way Rita does it, what seems to make the most sense for her is that the town does, if it's a joint project, town pays for everything, and then they break it all out for us and send us all the backup, so that then we have everything we need. And so that's typically why, like with the visitor center, that's exactly what we did. We just paid once lump sum, to them, one payment last summer. So that could make
So that's-
sense.
I mean, the sidewalk replacement one seems like a great,
No brainer, yeah.
great one to do it for. Wayfinding, I mean,
You can even set the threshold higher, so if you wanted to.
I mean, I feel like we're probably gonna end up with 50% of the, you know, if the sign fabrication and installation is different places, we might end up paying both of those
From,
contractor, subcontractor a couple times. I don't know.
Do you wanna say minimum of 50,000?
Yeah.
To use a line of credit?
Does that seem reasonable? That put us in a spot where
That's
we
fine.
might do it, but we don't.
because your real point is that you want us to utilize it, correct? So that we're showing that credit worthiness, that we can do these types of things
Yeah,
with these
the
large
idea.
projects, right?
Use it, pay it back, and ultimately be able to use credit in excess of what our collateral is for the line. And borrowing 10, 20, 30,000 doesn't do that.
Mhm.
So borrow from the line of credit, and then you make successive payments to somebody on a contract over 2 months period, so I'm gonna pay interest on a daily basis.
Mhm.
And that would probably, depending on what the amount is, be higher than what the, money market, return would be.
Mhm.
So there's only one difference in terms of transferring the money from the money market and transferring money from the, line of credit, is that we have to call the bank, with Sunflower and tell them to put the amount of money into our, Sunflower checking account. So I can write a check. That's only one step. So that's a 5-minute call. And so I don't really think that's terribly labor intensive.
So you just said something about paying daily interest for a period of time.
If you don't pay it back.
Right. But that's not our intention, though.
I'm sorry.
That is not our intention.
No.
So it sounds like we talked through, you know, the goal to pay the sidewalks and then any payments to wayfinding over $50,000 from line of credit. And everything else would be out of the TIF money market.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I heard.
I can get behind that.
Barb, do you have any comments, things to add?
No, I think we can make a motion to approve the funding of the NDDA 2024 projects with the caveat that wayfinding and sidewalks will be paid out of the line of credit. That's the right wording? If
50.
it's over $50,000.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go. Very good. Thank you very much. Second,
Right word?
Andrew?
And all other projects paid out of the money market.
Yeah,
Let's see here. Let me make, yeah, that should balance out because those are two big ticket. I just had to think through the money of that and make sure that we could just save from that way. All right, that's great. So I will call roll. Scott Pappich,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
yes?
Steve Roundtree,
Yes.
Ron Mitchell, Andrew Dewar,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Call and user, and I don't know if that's a board member.
Sorry, we didn't know there were people on besides us. Okay.
I knew Danielle had joined, but I
Is it
didn't.
Kathy?
Yeah, dude, who's on the phone with us?
No. Okay, all right. Well, thank you all. That is very helpful. And so next month, as it's in your packet, but next month in the consent will be all these resolutions. And if there's something that I have to pull out that's different as I go and work on this with Rita. I won't be on consent. That resolution wouldn't be on consent. I'll pull it off as an item for us to talk about if anything arises. All right, so now did you want to go back to the picnic table project?
Sure, yeah, that's,
Last year you spent about $10,000 on it.
How many picnic tables?
Danielle,
Quite a
if
few.
Danielle's here, maybe we could have her segue the picnic. Danielle, are you able to talk about the aim for the public art picnic table project?
So,
Yeah, I also want to apologize for being tardy. Thank you. And I don't have the information in front of me, so I will go back to Kate with that. Carrie Evans was in charge of the picnic table project. She did a beautiful job in figuring that out. What we did was hire an art director who was Casey Pyle, and she was in charge of leading the teams of artists to create their preliminary designs and then paint each table on a specific day during the Nederland Day of Art mural walk, which was brilliant and well organized and well executed. The project was able to pay each team of artists, each picnic table, I believe $400. And I think the art director, 1,400 stands out in my mind, but again, I don't have that in front of me. Kate,
That's
were you able
exactly-
to?
Yes,
Yeah,
that was exactly the number. It was 1,400 was how much Casey was paid.
awesome. So what I would like to do, and we already talked to Casey, Carrie got a hold of her, was to have her lead a very similar project so that we can utilize her experience, the fact that she saved a lot of the paint and paint brushes and primer for the tables and sealant for the finished art projects to preserve them. She has them down in her studio, which is right beside the community garden. And I just think it would be a brilliant use of her experience with our team and with the board, as well as her experience leading the project as an art director. And then if we approve that, then as we organize another project, I would bring all of that information back to you for approval before we do anything else.
How many tables are there?
I believe there are 8.
And where are the tables?
They're down at the community garden by Busey Brews and the Nederland Co-op underneath the deli.
Danielle, this might be a stupid question. Aren't they already painted? Are we painting them again? Are we doing more
No,
tables?
those ones are already painted. They're well preserved, they're sealed, they're taken care of, and we have a potential donation of new ones, and that would be the idea, is to not put all of them down there at the community garden where they are, but find other strategic locations throughout town for people to enjoy. And we could go into more details of that should the project be approved to move forward with.
Great.
I would inject that I've been approached to have some of the tables, I don't know if it's all or not, that are used for the farmer's market during their events to be the tables. So I okayed it and said, fine, if you want to, it's all right with me. I don't know where it stands with the art committee as to whether or not they've accepted my approval or not.
That is what Carrie had said, Ron, and I wasn't the one who talked directly with you, and so I didn't want to bring that up. But yes, you are the donator of the tables that she brought up, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So they'll only be on that property? They won't be around town anywhere else? Is that
No, they're saying that they want to see them in, oh,
places around town?
where else is it just gonna be in there? Where do you want, where are they gonna be? Where did you talk about?
Well,
Sorry.
they're stacked on Second Street right now.
Okay,
They're used during the farmer's market for the most part,
okay.
sprinkled out throughout the area
Okay.
when the farmer's market is going on.
That's actually get more visibility there than they do down behind the deli.
I think so.
And if we have options and enough tables, I would like to spread them throughout town. I think they're a beautiful addition to public art.
Okay.
I'd love to see them around town too. I
So
mean,
do we
a
have
few
a,
here, a few there would be nice.
and I think the question was, do we have a dollar amount on the picnic table project?
So when we presented it for our budget, Carrie had found a dollar amount to put aside for a community project. I don't remember that total amount. I don't know if it's in any of your notes, Kate. I was supposed to look that up today and I got sidetracked on a walk and
So
enjoying the day off.
I remember that she had said that she was keeping it in line with last year, and last year you spent about $10,000.
Awesome, thank you.
So, do you want the board to approve $11,000 or something like that? Just because there was some other material costs, and I know that that's kind of where we'll have some cost savings this year, as you're stating. So it's really up to you. If you want to just say, $10,000 is what the picnic table project will be.
Well, I'm not sure what we would need to spend on it in terms of any inflation for materials. However, I think we do still have quite a few materials. And I would like to review that and have a solid number unless we need to approve, and it would be beneficial to have something set aside. Mainly what we're looking for is to go ahead and get Casey Pyle approved to have lead a project and gather information and put it together to bring to you guys for further approval to actually do it. But if that's what we had last year, that would make sense. That's saving supply costs with what we saved from last year. It should be possible to do it for that amount or very similar, and then we can let you guys know if that changes.
Yeah, I think that's probably, since you need to engage someone and your question before the board is moving forward, you'll need to tell them how much money, you want to move forward with. And I do think $10,000 is a fair and in line what your discussions are. And if something does need to change, you could come back to the board. But I think for them to make a good motion, it would need to know how much money you were thinking of taking from your budget. And you have a larger budget this year for the sculptures, but we're still working on that piece. So that's why I just want to bring all that up.
So it's the same number of
Excellent,
tables
thank
as
you.
last year?
Pardon?
Scott had, is it the same number of tables as last year?
That I do not know the details of. I was not the one who talked to Ron about his donation of the tables. So I'm not really sure. And that's what I would, like, before we could get more of those details, the first step was seeing if you guys would approve Casey Pyle being the lead art director instead of putting a call out again like we did last year.
So should we make a motion to approve Casey Pyle as the art director of this project, but we'd like to see more details on it at the next meeting? Like how many tables and roughly the cost?
Yeah, they're not gonna start at this.
Would that suffice this evening?
Danielle, I think that's a question for you.
Yeah, that's a-
Absolutely.
I've moved to approve Casey Pyle as paid art director for 2024 summer picnic table project.
Second.
Second that?
Hold on one second.
Catherine's on too.
All right. So the motion was and who seconded? Was it Barb? I thought I heard, or was it Scott?
I think Nicole also,
Or Danielle.
Danielle
Danielle.
also
Okay.
was in there.
Okay, so let me call roll. All right, Scott Papich,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Steve Roundtree,
Yes.
Ron Mitchell,
Abstain.
and Andrew Dewar,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Catherine Valen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we're moving into discussion items. And I guess right now, before we get into this, is there any public comment on discussion items? Which the discussion item is the aim for 2024 summer traffic control.
There's no other public on
No
that.
other public comment?
Someone on the phone, but I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, well, discussion here, and I talked to a little bit with Nikki about this, but this is Ron's item. Wants to set the dates for traffic control next summer. Its town has to submit a traffic control plan for CDOT approval. Takes about 60 days to get the approval. Plan is very simple. It would take 2 flaggers with yield signs at Lakeview Drive and Rental Way, 24 days, 12 weekends during the summer, 6 hours each day. Approximately $43,000 is available in traffic and safety funding. Questions for the board would be, does the board have any comments or concerns about using funding for traffic control? Second, is the board ready to move forward with the proposed plan?
And I did want to interject that right before you got here, Andrew, Ron stated that he thought that this would be about $25,000 of that budget.
Okay, so less than 43.
Yeah.
I talked with Nikki about, how things, what she thought would be the reality of getting, the traffic plan. And she said, she had just finished the plan for, is it the race or something that comes through town? I don't know.
Oh,
Oh,
South Crescent maybe?
Maybe she was
Like
just
race.
involved in like getting a traffic plan in that she thought could really be simply modified and submitted to the CDOT.
okay.
And so in her opinion, it wasn't gonna be a heavy lift for her to help with getting a traffic plan for summer flagging. Or just remembering how busy it was last year, I'm just speaking for myself. Anything we could do to have more, certified flaggers following a traffic plan that's approved by CDOT would be beneficial in my opinion. But I want to definitely
Can I ask,
hear from everyone.
why would we do it at Rental Way and the BNF? Because first of all, the bank's gonna be another year before it's open. So basically you've got you've got one business on that side of the road where the most traffic is the issue is in the center of town by the visitor center. So why would we do it on the other side of town, which is not where as many people are walking and stopping traffic?
I mean, I would think we would need to defer to the traffic plan that Nikki kind of comes up with. I don't know if Rental Way or Lakeview Drive is the answer either.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like there's not gonna be anything going in and out of there that is going to
In the
be
supermarket.
worse than, yeah.
Right,
So I guess.
BNF, yeah,
Yeah, Lakeview,
yeah,
Like
And I would
itself,
go to
but not,
turning
not where
left,
Ace
right.
is.
yeah,
that's the biggest, that's typically a bad spot.
yeah, yeah.
Even
Try
with
to get
that
out of
close.
BNF, yeah.
So, before like deciding that should go forward, shouldn't we see a traffic plan from Nikki?
I think we want to let Nikki know that we have the funds and we're gonna do it before we take her time up to make her proposal and have the possibility of rejecting it.
But I agree that I don't want to commit to any flag or any particular intersection. I just would like Nikki to know that the funds are there and for her to draw up a plan and to have flaggers helping with traffic in town on the busy summer days.
And then Nikki, so would you want Nikki to, so when we get that plan, would you want it to come back to the board? If you approve funding tonight, saying, hey, $25,000 of the budget can be used for this, but we want to see X, Y, and Z before funds are committed,
Yeah,
or
I mean, I
something like
think we'd
that.
also need to compensate. I don't know how much time it takes Nikki to do a traffic plan, but I don't expect it to be free. In addition to the flaggers, I'd like her to know that, there's some time, some
You
funds
acknowledge
to help
that.
her to, deal with the plan. She's got a lot on her plate already.
So when I look at the three flaggers, 24 days, 6 hours, $25, comes out to about 11,000.
It does, but you never know what CDOT's gonna say. We may submit a plan to them and they're gonna say, no, we don't like that, do this. And you gotta have 6 flaggers. So it really depends. We've got enough budget probably to cover whatever CDOT would require. But if it only takes 11, that's great. We try it and we see what happens. As a first go around, we don't know what's gonna happen. So, it's a trial run. We've never done it before. And, if we don't, and I don't think we'd spend the full 25, but I'd like to have it there just as we've done with every other project. So we don't have to go back for approval if it costs that amount. CDOT very well may say, if you're gonna do it at, First and 119, it's not gonna work unless you do it at Rental Way and Lakeview too. So until we know what CDOT says, it's kind of hard to give an exact figure. I gave you that figure today, and that's what I would hope that we would do, but I can't,
Also want enough capacity for like bathroom breaks, floaters, people who
Yeah.
can help really.
That's already in there.
that's it.
So I think it'd be wise for us to, for a reference point, just discuss what happened last year. What was it that broke last year when we tried to do flaggers and it turned into a mess? And what was the deal? It was, they were
We had flaggers.
certified flaggers?
Certified. Barbara Hart objected to it, so we didn't, go any further. But they're all certified now, and that $25 an hour is based on that particular company, which is gonna do the farmer's market, traffic control also. So, I don't know if we wanna go ahead and get a bid from them early on. I'd like to. I'm the one that's promoting this, but if you'd like to be on committee with me to do it, I'd welcome that. But if you don't, that's okay. But there's a lot of unknowns, but I want to try it. I think everybody would like to try it, see what happens. And until we really know where the choke points are, we could conceivably put 2 plans to CDOT and say, we want to try this. Let's try it at 119 and First. And then if it doesn't work well there, we'll move over to 119 and Rental Way and Lakeview Drive. So there's
And it's those,
different ways to flag traffic. And there's different ways that we could handle it. And what I'm hoping is that with 2 yield signs this year and flaggers there to see that people do yield, that if we do it next year and we have temporary yield signs during those weekends, they might not need to be flagged. We might not need personnel there. And we could allocate the same amount of personnel to where it would be difficult. First and 119 is really a mess. Most of the people cross at on the north side of the intersection, but CDOT has put the traffic pattern down by the visitor center. And that creates 2 paths of traffic like this. It is a big choke point. So let's find out in our discussions what to do and try something. So it's a trial, it's an idea that we have flexibility to do and come up with the best solution. I, for one, think that you'd have a very hard time at First and 119 without flaggers. Because people just won't obey unless there's somebody there that says stay in line. And also, we gotta try to convince CDOT that they've got the crossing in the wrong place. But I've sat there and watched First and Snyder for hours, and that's what I see.
I think also this year it's important, and hopefully this traffic control plan, speaks to this, but that the flaggers have radios and that there's a synchronization between, if there are
flaggers on one side of town letting traffic through that kind of, there's a flow of traffic that happens for a while, so you don't get a burst of cars that travels for 200 feet and then stops at another flagger. Like it seems that
One of the worst problems that happens is when somebody doesn't realize when they stop at the roundabout, they choke off 5 streets, 1 car. And when that happens, everything just stops. So that's where your flaggers come in terms of where you really need them. If I had my druthers, I'd have flaggers at the roundabout, at First and 119, at Rentalway, and at Lakeview. That'd be 5 flaggers. And that would considerably double the budget. But in terms of trying something and having it at a reasonable cost, that's why I think we've got to come up with a plan that would be less than 25,000.
So I got a question.
Does anybody not understand that?
I just have a question on.
Sure.
So we set aside $50,000 for traffic safety support. Is there money that we've already spent out of this year? Or do we still have the full 50,000 in the
So
budget set aside?
So that 50, we have spent some of it because DCI is coming from that. So that spreadsheet I sent you.
Okay.
Is very complicated, but it's meant to help you understand what the resolution amounts are gonna be, what was at the end of the year. So this is what I work with Rita.
Okay.
So that when we're doing the resolutions, we're authorizing the proper amounts. So the little bit of carryover, we do take into consideration.
got some traffic budgets for summer concert series.
So
So
that stuff comes out of
This-
this same line.
exactly. So
Okay.
that's why I'm telling
That's
you
what I
that like
thought.
there is more constraints on this
So
money.
this 25,000 is kind of the number that's there for an attempt to help traffic
Summer.
flow unrelated to specific events that we're supporting for traffic stuff. The other question I have, does anyone know, like, is CDOT coming all the way into town with this current project that they're doing south of town?
Yep. We're gonna start at the roundabout and move towards the Coal Creek turnoff.
So,
What is the project?
It's like widening the roadways, improving the drainage along the roadways, doing some sidewalk repairing,
If you go south out of town, you can see where they're already cutting.
They're
up the-
starting.
yeah,
starting to cut trees now.
Yeah,
do you have any idea when they're gonna be in town?
Probably June.
I mean, it definitely, I think like it's gonna be a challenging project for traffic flow.
Right.
And my concern is, if it's a construction zone, that totally changes putting traffic control in. So I think we need to like understand where that project is at and steer clear of, like, if it's a CDOT project that's happening, we need to like say, there's no way that we're touching that. I don't think.
Oh, no, they'll have
Yeah.
their own.
Yeah, but even on a weekend, a construction zone that's on the weekend,
Not being blocked.
that's
Mhm.
like a
Going down.
dormant construction site on the weekend,
Mhm.
my personal opinion is we should steer clear of
Oh,
doing
I'm not-
anything. It's,
Well,
Yeah.
I agree.
and hopefully they're done soon enough, but that's gonna be, depending on where that flagging zone is and traffic volume. I mean, they're already putting a stop right at the turn to the high school.
Mhm.
And people are blocking that road because they're putting a 1-lane thing there. So I think it's the start of a challenging summer for traffic. So I think we need to acknowledge that, we're gonna have to work around that project. But beyond that, I think we made a decision to set aside money to try to do what we can to make traffic flow better. And I think we should move forward and say, like, let's try. When it's safe and it seems reasonable, I think we should give it a try, because we agreed to put the money aside. And after a year of challenging traffic last year. By the time we get to really peak tourist time this year, the road construction is gonna make things really challenging. Anything that can be done on weekends to help when it's not in a construction zone, I think will be a positive. That's my opinion on this.
So I would like to propose something, because there is some other conversation about the traffic and safety fund, is because we knew that performance space, or performance space, the summer concert series was gonna be tight with the 50. We need to pay for the traffic and safety, which, isn't gonna be as much in every situation depending on the thing, but we need to pay for traffic and safety for summer concert series out of this pot of money too. So, in part of my update report, you'll see next month is May when you do your funding applications for special events and traffic and safety. So I think maybe next month we try to come back with some more information about CDOT, if we can get anything about some of the timing. Talk about cost a little bit more, and then also talk about the cost of summer concert series, have a better idea of that. And then you'll see the applications that are coming in as well, and I can pull out, how much we spent last year on these events for you. So that then you can really figure out what you want to do with that pot of money. And if you want to move something from something, like you can have that conversation, but then at least you're going to be looking at, these are the events. And I can talk to the farmers market because they're generally the one that's coming in for the fall funding. I can get them to come in with everything they want, and so that maybe we're looking at the full picture, because most of what you help the farmers market with is traffic control and safety. And so we can try to get as much information so that you can really look at what costs are really gonna be out there and what you really wanna spend on.
So in the past, has farmers market ever paid, they paid for some traffic control?
No, they've asked us to pay for
Or
it.
asked us,
Yeah.
and we have,
Yes,
okay.
that's mostly
Yeah.
what you give them funding.
When you're off the highway, you don't need sort of their own team.
And that's why it's not the same level of funding. And most of the time, what we're funding is the larger events, the Harvest Fest, and then what's in the.
That we require the highway fund.
All
Exactly.
right, so if we had 2 flagging spots, 3 flaggers, 12 weekends, both days, just to cover what the summer scene is like up here. I think that's a significant improvement over what we've done in the past. Agreed? I'm in agreement with it. I think that's a good idea. We should try it. I don't think that we should necessarily double the budget for it, for unknown items. I think we want to say, yeah, it could be for those flaggers, for that estimate, we're looking at $11,000. If we say, let's throw in a few more thousand for whatever we need, I'm okay with that too. But I think doubling it up to 20,000 is too much.
Well, and also, here's my thing. So if we have a budget of 25,000 and it's not working, just 3 of either of the intersections we've talked about. But if we add 1 or 2 more in terms of the trial thing, project, we have the funds to cover that.
We do, but that's a different, now what we're saying is, here's what we'd like to do. It's a significant improvement over what we've done in the past. Now what I want is the horsepower to throw anything at it possible at any cost. Doubling it just on the
Not
spot.
at any cost, at some cost below 25,000. Got to put a cap on.
Kate, do you know, so let's say you pick these weekends of the summer and it rains all of June. Do we pay them still? Like, is there a cancellation for the flaggers if we don't need them for June because it's raining all month?
Oh, I have no idea, because I haven't engaged any of the flaggers, so that's a Ron question. So I want to recap for Andrew really quickly so that we're all on the same page. So I threw out there that maybe next month, because we're looking at funding applications for special events, that we look at this more wholly at that time, because we'll be getting applications for funding for special events that are happening. We need to know what the number is for the summer concert series, but maybe we break out this budget next month and come together on how much we're allocating out of this
I
43.
object to that highly.
Okay.
Time is of the essence here. We need to get the budget approved, that we have the money. We need to talk to.
Well, no, we're
We
approving.
need to get those things into the CDOT, or there's gonna be lots of projects ahead of us and we won't get
Okay.
anything done.
Well, then the board needs to choose that over other items, because we don't know how much summer concert series is yet. I wanted to ask Andrew about that. So the board would need to make a decision on, and this is just a discussion item tonight. I know you can move it to action, but I'm not feeling like that there's a movement in
I
that
want
direction.
to action so that we have the funds,
Okay.
so that Nikki
That's
feels,
up to the board.
feels confident that she can go forward with, making a plan.
That's up to the,
There's no point in taking up people's time unless we know we have the money to do it
I'm
immediately.
not disagreeing. I'm telling you what I'm
it's the
suggesting,
board decision
because there's
factor.
lots of different conversation that is happening here. And the summer concert series, which we're talking about coming to agreement to, we need to fund the traffic and safety for that as well. And so that cost, Andrew, do you know how much we're talking about there?
No, but I would imagine it's similar to traffic and safety for the farmer's market.
Okay.
You know, I don't imagine it's a lot.
No, I
I
wasn't
mean,
thinking
it
so.
it sounds like the disagreement here is what should the proposed budget of the summer traffic be?
Yes.
Be it,
Out of the whole budget,
Out of
because
the
we
whole budget.
also have Ned Gravel and other people that are gonna come ask us for traffic funding, and that is.
right,
what
but they have a
some of that
maximum
is
of.
for.
of
No, they
1,000.
don't have a
No, they
maximum.
don't on traffic.
Not
They
on
don't
traffic.
have a max on traffic. So how can we commit to this idea before all these people come to us next month to ask us for money for their projects, and they're coming to us in 4 weeks?
I mean, you can tell me right now, you don't want to fund traffic and safety for anybody else because they haven't submitted the application.
No,
I don't wanna
think
go-
we
Well,
need
I'm
to
just
know
telling
the
you, like,
events,
these are the
yeah.
options that you have. That's my job, is to tell you where the,
I think
the
we
trails
can
are.
bring it back next month as an action item, and it was a discussion item this month.
So I would be fine moving forward with an action item for what Ron has proposed, but not inflating it out to 25,000. But the plan that you put for, he actually wrote 2 flaggers, but it's actually 3, for 12 weekends, both days. I'm fine with that. I think we should try that.
If we don't get going and try something, we're gonna
So
fail.
are we talking 11 or $14,000, or what
Yeah.
does the three come out
It
to?
comes out to 10,800.
So what about if we said 15,000? I mean, is that a compromise that you could live with?
I think that's a cap that I would be okay going forward with, yeah.
Right, with the hope that we're only gonna hit 12 or 13, sure, do you deal with 15,000?
I can deal with 15 as long as we're
Yeah.
not cutting off
And
all
then-
the other events. And some
then
of those weekends could be event weekends.
Right, there's too many other things that we have to provide.
Yes.
I would like to move, that we move this item to an action item. We put it to an action item. And when it becomes an action item, we vote on it.
Okay, second, moving this to an action item.
Okay.
And then,
Scott Papich,
Yeah,
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Steve Roundtree,
Yes.
Ron Mitchell,
Yes,
Andrew Dewar,
yes,
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Catherine Vallon.
Yes.
You all, all right, it's an action item now, and if there's a motion,
I'd like to move that we put the motion on the table for, specifically for the plan that Ron has proposed for 12 weekends. He wrote 2 flaggers, but it should be 3, sounds like,
has to be.
okay? 6 hours, 2 days a weekend, 12 weekends. But then we cap it at 15,000 with that specific initiative.
a second,
well, that, you didn't say motion to, there was a lot of conversation in there,
thought
so
I heard motion.
go ahead.
That was the motion, Ron. That we
make a motion to.
make a motion to
Motion to
move
approve
forward with,
With three
Yes.
flaggers,
3 flaggers?
yeah,
Okay.
12 weekends.
I have a question on this.
Yes.
Before we put all that detail in here, Nikki's writing a plan.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what Nikki's plan is gonna be.
Right.
If Nikki's plan is different than
It's
that,
4
Then you
flaggers.
tempt yourself into
can we simply make a motion
not.
To
for
allocate.
$15,000 to move forward with traffic control based on the plan?
Based on what Nikki.
Because otherwise, if Nikki's plan is different and
Then
it's
you've got this, when you put this
4
much
people
detail,
or 6 people, we're
So
gonna,
here's
you
my
have to
concern.
come back again.
We don't put any detail into it all, and Ron's putting work into this. If we don't put any detail into it, we just say, here's $15,000. Then We don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, I mean, they're just, with boards, like, there comes the point, there is a point of like letting people, you know, how much do you want to manage this? That's what we got. I mean, like, how much do you want to be in this? Because if you limit it in those ways, and then she has to get 4 flaggers because CDOT says that, I have to come back to this board to spend any money and to do anything. And that's not efficient for anybody. And so that's where you got to weigh it out.
Can I just jump in? I
Yeah.
think, I understand, Ron, where you're coming from, is you wanna make sure Nikki knows she has the money. I guess I understand, why do you have to vote on this tonight?
Yeah.
You basically
We
you just kinda committed, you're gonna put $15,000 for this, let her bring back the plan and let you vote on the actual plan. I don't think.
I don't
you
want
should
to,
vote on it now.
because it's too late in terms of getting through CDOT. They're a
I think he has to do.
very slow operation. And we'll be lucky to get it approved by the 1st of June. And I want her to know that. And it's not Nikki. Nikki will do pretty much whatever we want, I think. She's pretty cooperative. It's CDOT. We don't know what CDOT will say.
But I think-
CDOT may say, okay, you can have yield signs up there, but you also have to put up, signs, 100 yards before the yield sign that says yield ahead.
Well, I thought Andrew said that she had come up with a new plan that she
Yeah.
was thinking about just replicating for us, that she thought it, can you?
Yeah, she indicated that she had a plan that she thought would be pretty quick to modify for summer traffic control through town and that she could get done quickly. So, I mean, I think that setting aside a budget that we can tell Nikki, please, Nikki, go ahead, get the traffic plan filed and submitted. And you know that we're gonna be able to fund, you know, at least 3 flaggers for 6 hours for 2 days. You know, I think whether it's, I don't wanna, to Steve's point, I wouldn't want us to have to come back because it's either, 4 or 1 extra, you know, it's just like, it seems to me that we're all in agreement. We can cap this at 15,000,
Okay,
vote on
we
it.
still have the opportunity to agree to the plan or disagree with the plan when she comes forward with it, correct?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. I don't see why not. I mean,
Okay,
I want Nikki to know that she's
I
got
think
money to.
my intent on this is like, if we're saying $15,000 set aside to do traffic control
For
with
the
an
summer.
attempt to do as much positive for traffic flow in town, up to $15,000. And I mean, this plan could come back and that could be, yeah, you can do that for 4 days. And if we say like, well, at least we're accomplishing something for 4 days and that costs us $15,000, then we can sit down again when we know what it's really gonna cost. And if it happens for a weekend and people can assess, is this money well spent? And then we can say, this is silly, it's not accomplishing anything, or this is great and it's making a difference. And it's making town feel safer and more pedestrian friendly and all of those things. But I kind of feel like we can push something forward and say $15,000 to try it. And if that doesn't work, I mean, I do think we set aside money in the budget to do this. And we can not spend any of that money and have a similar experience to most of last year where we just didn't do anything.
and we're not saying don't spend any of the money, we're just saying
Yeah.
we have to spread it around, we have a lot of things this year. So does somebody else want to reword the motion?
Yeah, I
Then we
think-
can do something?
Steve, you wanna take?
Yeah, basically what you were starting.
A motion to approve the 2024 summer traffic control budget up to $15,000.
Perfect.
Second.
Barb Hart seconds. All right. Scott Pappage,
Yes.
Barb Hart,
Yes.
Steve Roundtree,
Yes.
Ron Mitchell, Andrew Dewar,
Yes.
Danielle Kraus,
Yes.
Catherine Valen.
Yes.
You all.
Okay,
We're on info items.
info,
We can-
chair report. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I do. Our DDA attorney is resigning, for several reasons. And, he's informed me that he's going to, work on, some of the items that I requested and finish those. But he's not going to, continue with us after he's done with those, so we'll be needing to look for new representation. He's going to recommend a couple of people for us, or maybe three.
I also, thoughts on that as well, and we'll send out his resignation letter where we receive it. He's gonna send it tomorrow.
Well, sorry to report that. He's been a great, however, he feels he's, got to slow down. He's 85 and, he wants to take on different projects, that are in process with some of his other clients. And since we don't have any major projects in the pipeline, that's one of the reasons that he wants to resign. But his own personal speed of work is slowing down, and I certainly know about that. So, he's said he's enjoyed being our attorney and representing us, but, we do need to start looking for new representation.
Kate, can you bring us ideas at the next meeting? Okay.
Yeah, it'll be an item, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll talk more. But long and short of it is, we need to look for somebody that's more municipally focused, because that's for what we're dealing with is, one of the things I would suggest is probably looking at working with Attorney Madsen, because she's the most used to things and we have easy access to her. Then the billing would be simple, because it would just be like Rita does, just quarterly send us whatever the time is, and I would just kind of do the same thing. That was my first reaction and thought about it. And then after I talked to him, and so he is gonna send some people, but yeah, it'll definitely be an item that we talk about. But it's just more with the things that we're working on. Somebody like Attorney Madsen may be, a better fit for us right now.
Okay. Treasurer report?
Nothing to add to it.
Steve?
I think I brought up everything from my report that I wanted to let you know about. That May is, your funding applications, that'll be a lot of what you're doing. It's also time to advertise for new board members. I don't think I put that in there. Catherine Vallon and Ron Mitchell's terms are up this year, and they are certainly welcome to apply again, as is the process. But we'll be doing our outreach for that, and then at the July meeting, there'll be elections for board positions and to look at new membership. So those are the next big things.
Thanks, Kate. Town staff?
Nothing else to add except for that I'm leaving.
Oh,
You obviously all received my resignation letter. Yesterday, I accepted a town manager position with Camp Verde, Arizona. So last day will be June 24th, or, well, May 24th. I don't know, I'm thinking about the next meeting. The board will meet tomorrow. They'll discuss how they want to handle the recruitment. They'll do that in executive session, and then also discuss kind of an interim or what that might look like. So as soon as we have more information, we of course will share that with all of you.
Well, you will be missed.
yeah.
You've been a big help to me as I've learned about this and everything, and so you will definitely be missed. You're huge support.
So spent a lot of time in Camp Verde, went to school in Prescott, so,
Ah, yeah, so did Stephen LaFavor.
yes, yeah, it's cool, Steve.
Yeah, super cool.
It's a cool place.
Yeah.
Beautification report. We have
Nothing to add.
nothing to add, okay. Public art, Danielle, do you wanna talk about public art?
Did I miss the mural jury
You
conversation?
did.
We
Everything.
approved it.
Everything.
Thanks for the report, guys. I appreciate you.
River.
Nothing more to add right now. Those were two big things and we're moving along and we'll bring more to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Riverwalk,
Nope, Nikki says end of June,
okay. Summer concert.
end of June. For the repairing the sidewalk or the walkway from Chipeta Park to the bridge and from the bridge up to Lakeview, assuming that we don't have monsoon, but she thinks end of June.
This one, yeah.
The summer concert series, it sounds like I'll just talk with Tanya about the fact that one of those is actually gonna be in September, so maybe her concerns are
Alleviated, yeah.
Okay, great.
But again, I think maybe we do just make that edit to the contract and
Sure.
maybe just so that
Easiest, okay.
we can make this easier on ourselves, just to get it executed.
Sounds good. Do you want to make that edit to the contract and then we can get that
Yeah, I'll tell Paul to make it, because it's in his port, and he was gonna work on it tomorrow for us, so I'll just tell him that that's what we want to do with that.
Okay.
He already knew, we talked about it a little bit, so it won't be a surprise.
Okay, and anything on wayfinding?
Nothing in addition to what I said earlier, we're just waiting to hear back what the colorway should be and finalizing those documents to get them out to bid.
Okay, any other business or a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Is everyone?
Aye.
Thank you all, that was super efficient.
Night, night.
Aye. Take this for these from, it's an extra one. Okay, it's different.